I'm going to say this, and I don't at all mean it in the way it's probably going to come across, but there's a level of pain that comes to your voice in the sense that you've lived, and you hear it in your voice, and that's why I think it resonates so well with other people, because everybody knows what it's like to either have heartbreak. Everybody knows what it's like to just have a moment where you need to be by yourself.
Yeah.
And
100%.
your music is one of those things that it mends. The voice itself that you have helps you carry on. And not to say that it's not good times, bad times. Like, music, I think, is for all moments.
Yeah.
And so do you feel that when you sing? Do you feel like it's coming from this place that either you can put your finger on it, maybe you can't put your finger on it, that it's because you've had this life?
Yeah, it's definitely, and it was, I started writing songs and singing. I started writing songs as almost like therapy. So I would sing and write lyrics about the things that I was struggling with, and just make me, and I'd finish and I'd feel like just a weight's off my shoulders. And funny, like singing, it's funny with singing with me, my relationship with singing, it was like, I never would get up and just like sing in front of anyone. It wasn't like, I didn't necessarily want to, this might sound weird, but I never wanted someone to hear me sing. I did, but like not.
Interesting.
But it wasn't just, I wouldn't sing anything. I wouldn't just sing anything. It would be like, I had to have something that I really wanted to say to sing. And it's only until when I started writing songs, I was like, that's when I started to kind of find my voice and fall in love with what it is to sing. And usually it was quite a heavy emotion. Often it would be pain or some melancholy or something that would pick me up. But I used it as like something that I used singing as a way to express something that I couldn't in like day-to-day life and conversation. And I always found that songs and singing express something that you couldn't just go around to someone else's and just lay it all out and be like, man, you're so intense. Calm down. We just want to talk about the weather.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I had nowhere to take certain things, but I could put them in songs. And that's when I really found my voice. And so I think it carries those emotions, because that's the only reason why I do it. It wasn't really to be like just to sing. And where there's some people that sing and they have these amazing voices and they just sing all the time, and like they just love singing. And you'll never like actually probably hear me singing in the shower or at home. It's only to sing my songs and to express, Yeah.
I'm sure our listeners can tell by your speaking voice now, you're British.
Yeah.
What are some of the sounds of the UK that you kind of carry with you when you're not there, and kind of reminds you of the musicality of how your day-to-day is?
That's cool. It's a cool question. Wow. And I never thought of that, but the UK and like creativity in the UK is like, it's always had, well, from London anyway, I'm from London, has an edge to it. It's always something where it kind of embraces the unique and the different. London, definitely not like all of UK, but London has that. So I feel like when I'm out and about in places, traveling, that kind of the edge, the feeling okay to try something different. An example could be like you'll be doing a radio session playing live and you just kind of create on the spot is like something that you do rather than making it super showbiz and like perfect. The imperfections the UK kind of, and especially London, kind of embraces and enjoys. And so I definitely bring that around with me when I'm on the road and playing. And in terms of musical inspirations, it would be like, specifics, I'm always like listening to records, but it's more the spirit of like how I grew up in London that I kind of keep with me whatever country I'm in, whether it's the US or mainland Europe or wherever. I've always kind of grown up embracing the not so perfect, and that helps with creativity.
What are some of the sounds that we're going to hear in this third album, Kiwanuka?
Yeah.
Is it going to resemble the other stuff that we've had a chance to hear from you, or is it a departure from all that you've already showcased for us?
I'll say it's a departure. I mean, it's funny because as an artist, you live with it for so long, you feel like it's just the same, but it's definitely a departure. And some of the response we've gotten from people that have heard it or heard a couple of singles was like, yeah, it's cool, it's you, it's a bit different. So I would say that it would be, if people do know some of my older stuff, it's definitely more vivid, I would say, more ambiguous, more abstract. Lyrically not ambiguous, but the sounds and the instrumentation kind of is a bit more abstract and I'll try to create kind of like 3D images, if that makes sense. With the
Ooh,
music.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm trying to get people to lose themselves in the music. So and through that, there's just these sounds that kind of come out of nowhere and instruments that you think, what is that? And interludes in between tracks. And I've never done something like that before. So I guess in that sense, it's definitely a departure. And in between all of those things and those moments, there's the same kind of soulful music that I've had on the first 2 records that kind of is embedded as the nucleus of the whole project. But yeah, there's definitely more of a vivid, dreamlike state to this record that's more than the others.
Do you visualize your songs? Like when you're either singing them or when you're writing them, do you have pictures that come up in your head? Not even just for like a music video, but in general, like there's times where, and it might not even be your own music, like you're out and about, you're hearing a song and it just takes you somewhere.
100%.
So does that happen for your own music where you just picture it all?
Yeah, man, definitely. During the writing, during the studio, you have a feeling, and sometimes it's colors, sometimes it could be like movement. Movement's like always been inspiring to me for music. Just a scene in your head that's moving along. Like if you're in a car looking out the window, sometimes the picture of that is in your head of like, whether it's like, for example, like a tree blowing or like something falling, it helps me create the chords and come up with a melody. It's just, it's you're trying to make that into a sound, and that's kind of what helps me create. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I feel like everybody has that image in their head about like, it's a rainy day, you're in a car, you're in a bus, and you're just like looking very so contemplatively outside the window. You're like, oh, this is the song.
Yeah. And there's a sound to that. Yeah.
There is a sound to that. Yeah. So the latest single is called You Ain't the Problem. Do you, at this point in your life, are there many problems?
Oh, I'm blessed. There's always problems. Like everyone's got something.
Everybody's got some problems, but it seems like from the outside looking in, it looks like things are going incredibly well for you.
Yeah. I mean, career-wise, I feel so privileged and blessed to be in New York, be traveling, be having a 3rd album, to be doing shows and people buying tickets, and it's crazy. It's like dream come true. So like it's exciting and I'm excited for more records, and like to have 3 records is like, oh man, 3rd album. So
at the age that you're at, you're still very, very young to be able to make your mark in this world already.
Yeah, I'm feeling really privileged. It's a blessing, and you ain't the problem. It's like sometimes you're just mental health is like a thing that you just always got to keep an eye on, and mental wellness is, and it's people talk about it a lot now, which is good, and it's becoming way more it's just being spoken about a lot in a much better way now in the world, definitely in the UK, and I feel like places like New York it is.
And especially tough to have those conversations when you're from a community of color.
Definitely.
The Latino community and my friends, my African-American friends who talk about, like, nobody wants to talk about therapy. Nobody wants to talk about making sure that mentally and psychologically they're well. Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
It is. And it's something I value. And that's what You Ain't the Problem kind of is speaking about, is saying that often I feel like we can try and dilute and change ourselves to fit in order to fix the problem that's happening. So like, oh, there's something wrong with me, it's because I'm this or it's because I'm that, and the world can kind of tell you that, but it's not. I don't think it ever really is that. I think we can definitely work on ourselves and improve as humans, yes, but we're not changing ourselves. If anything, we're adding to ourselves and growing, and within that there's growing pains, but you're not diluting. If anything, it's getting more clear, it's getting more intent, getting more closer to the source. And so You Ain't the Problem is like being like, don't, you're not the problem. There's issues, but it's not your fault. Just face that challenge, talk to someone, see it from another's perspective. Okay, that thing didn't work out, but one door shuts, maybe another opens. But that's not your fault. Maybe you ask someone out, they said like, I don't like you, but that's cool, because that means that next time you don't want to be with someone you don't like, that doesn't like you. So, it hurts, definitely, but you're not the problem. That's like the next person will. For someone that doesn't see the greatness of who you are, or all those things, there's someone round the corner that does, but you can stay exactly the same and keep growing and keep being yourself. But I think we kind of, for some reason, we instinctively think that, oh, there's something wrong with me, so let me change my hair, or like, oh, maybe I need to do this. And And so you in the pub and speak to that. I was like, nah, man, that's not it. It doesn't mean it's going to be rosy, but you know, keep. It sounds cheesy, but keep doing you. Yeah.